So to be inspired is to have breath put into you.
To have life infused into you.
Yes. Then live a life day by day. So what? So I can have money in my pocket and to do what with that money? What am I going to do with it?
To buy yourself
A pacifier?
fake, exactly.
Something to make me feel better for a second. So
I have this belief that I am perfectly designed for the challenges that I'm going through, for the things that inspire me. And if I do not believe in a higher power to surrender to, whose will I live by. All right, everybody. Today's episode is something really critical. We bring to you our thoughts on raising standards and why it's important for you to not remain in your comfort zone. We discuss some of the aspects of your life where you can quickly raise your comfort zone and some of the examples that we apply in our lives and some of the keys in raising your comfort zone. And most of all, why it is so detrimental to become in love with the things that you're already comfortable with and why it's so important for you to step out of them. So enjoy and stay tuned and comment and subscribe, of course. All right, everybody, welcome to this conversation today as we discuss something that is pivotal and it pertains to raising your standards.
Well, I will start by trying to define one thing. What is the standard?
Yes.
So what is the standard to you?
The standard is really, to make it simple, what you're used to. The things, the aspects of your life that you've come to accept as a fact. You don't need to challenge them. You're comfortable where you are. And in the self-development industry, you will hear the term comfort zone. That's really what we're talking about today. Why is that detrimental? Why is that something to avoid at all costs and to seek to always essentially expand your comfort zone as you grow along?
And the first question is, why should we care to raise our standard? What is it important to raise our standard?
Yes.
So what do you say to that?
To that I say, when you get to a point in your life where everything is on autopilot for the most part, you wake up in the morning, you know exactly what is going to happen, you know exactly how you're going to do what you're going to do. You can even predict the result of what you're going to do. At this time I'm going to do this, it's going to result to this, I'm going to talk to this person. So you are comfortable all the time. You're not challenged, you're not forced to grow. So to answer shortly, to answer simply, getting out of your comfort zone is really about growth. And why is growth important? That's also part of this conversation as we're going to explore even further.
At times, we accept that there is little we can do to change where we are. There is not much we can do to improve the state of our life, but that desire for more is there. Mm-hmm. And the question to how do I get the more that I want for myself? The first step into that journey is to start by raising your standard in certain areas of your life.
Yes.
All right, that's what happens. So if you're watching this and your life is perfect the way it is, and you like it the way it is, and that's what you desire, this is not for you. But if you're among the people like myself who look at my life, certain aspect of my life, and know that I need improvement, I need to grow, and there are different areas of your life where you can raise your standard, and we're gonna explore them. So
yes. That's
it. Raise your standard.
Yes. So in the course of this conversation, you'll hear me use the word stretching. Things are just expanding, and your comfort zone is getting ever bigger. And part of the game of life, really, if I can put it that way, is to ever continually grow that circle of comfort zone that you have. To always seek to step out of your comfort zone and discover that you're growing along the way. And more things are accessible to you. You're capable of more. You're able to help more people, to contribute more to the lives of yourself and your family as well. So why don't we start telling to people exactly in a concrete manner what it means to raise our standards in some aspects of life. I'm sure we can talk about this in many aspects, but let's talk about a few aspects of life where we can raise people's standards.
It seems that the first area of life we should raise our standards is the physical area. I mean, our soul and our spirit lives in our body, and we need to take care of the body.
Yes.
And personally, this is an area of my growth where I'm struggling at the moment, actually. And I know the standard, I'm not living in the standard, and it's very unsatisfying. Sir, there is many reasons. Injuries, constant repeating, coming back injuries, a lot of things that might seem to get in the way. But there is this discomfort in where I am physically. We do things that keeps our body in the places we want our body to be. Generally, we know what that is. And it's generally not that difficult. This is so important and so valued in culture that multi-million businesses are built around it.
Yep.
You know, people are selling all sorts of training, all sorts of supplements, all sorts of things because we understand the importance of the body. So if you're one of those people that are waking up in the morning and feeling that my life is at rate and I don't know where to start, and you just found out that you have to raise your standard, and you have to have new acceptable minimums. That's what I believe raising your standard is, discovering your acceptable minimums. Then you need to start changing the minimum for your body, the acceptable minimum, and that could look differently depending on what you're studying.
Yes.
You know.
Definitely. Definitely. I failed to mention something in the beginning that was really powerful to me when I learned about the importance of raising your standards, and that is you really have two driving forces behind this, and you can raise your standard in anything, any aspect of your life that you so wish to raise your standards in, and those two things are enough time, giving yourself enough time, and also the sustained effort, also known as commitment. With those two things, you will achieve anything. If you're just willing to give things enough time and be kind to yourself as well, be kind to yourself and loving yourself enough to give yourself enough time, enough grace, and enough commitment over the time that is required. Nothing is impossible in that way. It does sound cliche, it does sound a little fluffy. You've heard this before, but that's really it. The difference between somebody who achieves this raised standard in the physical health and any other area of their life is that they give themselves enough time, and also they found a way to commit to it in a way that is simple, it's not overwhelming, something you can do daily, step by step. And yes, Christian is right. The starting point is different for everybody.
Indeed.
Yes.
Even it's different for yourself at different stages.
Yes.
Like for example, not a few months ago, I was running hills, I was doing all the things I need to do, but now bad back, bad feet. So now, when you've been an athlete like me my entire life, I need to understand that in this season, the best thing for me to do is walking. You'll feel like a marathon will be an impossible task, but somebody who run triathlons, for them is something you do every day.
Yes.
It's part of the daily training.
Yes.
So we have a different standard, a different starting point. So raising your standard is just raising it from where it is, not
Yes.
raising it to an ideal. So just make sure that today you are starting somewhere, you're going somewhere else. So if you want to raise your standard in life to become better and you want something with the physical, do something to improve your physical health. Just start something and you'll find out that it puts you on the ramp to attack all the other areas of your life where you need your standard raised. And I would say there are a few areas of your life where you can need your standard raised. We can talk about them and dig into them later on. But the first of all those is the physical one. And I don't think I have much more to speak about that.
Yes, I just wanted to give an example just to further cement this point before we move on. And I'm reminded of a fellow sister of ours, our dear friend, Rachel Sangara. Shout out to you, Rach. There was a while there she was struggling with her physical health as well, the state of her body. And we went a year or two without really talking. And I saw her again and she was this brand new person. Like, she had lost so much weight, she felt so much better, more vitality, more strength, more energy. And I asked her, what did you do? You know, because being in America here, somebody who goes to the gym, you're used to seeing trainers and complex routines and mesocycles and all those things. She told me, listen, I wanted to do something simple that was not overwhelming. And what I did was I cut out soda in my life. That's it. Something so simple. You know, when you look at it, you're like, well, this is going to take a long time. But the time is going to pass anyway. Time passes anyway. So she was like, this one I can handle. And it reminds me also of something that I'm doing right now to raise my standards. I've limited my alcohol consumption quite a lot. You know, drinking way more water and also just moving more. So more steps in a day and limiting my consumption of alcohol and also sweets and candy. Those things I can handle. It's not a prescription that I'm giving to you. To me, it just so happens that I realize, you know what? I don't have to have candy. And my life doesn't suffer that much. And slowly but surely, I may not be losing 2 pounds a week or something like that, but I am consistently improving. But yeah, that's really for the physical aspect of your life. And it's the most obvious place where to start because you get feedback like that, you can see it. But the other things are a little more abstract, but the physical part is one of the easiest places to start raising your standard. Yeah.
Well, the next area to raise your standard, what would it be?
You know, I'd say the mental part, your inner world, so to speak. Well, I guess it involves a little bit more, but I'll just say the mental part, the mental side of things, as a place to also raise your standards, where it makes a big difference in your life as well. Raising your standard mentally here, we're speaking of, education is the easiest way, the lowest hanging fruit, so to speak. So, what you learn, the things that you learn, the things that you're committed to internalizing, and that reshape the way that you think. We had a conversation about how to think correctly. Please go and check that out as well. But here I'm primarily talking about the information that you're consuming, the information that you consume in order to move from the place, the quality of your thinking, to a different place that is much more rewarding, much more empowering, and yields more positive results in your life, whatever that means to you. The baseline, normally, the most accepted way of acquiring education is to go through schooling. But even last conversation that we had, we talked about education quite a bit. So an example of raising your standard mentally would be, there's something that I've wanted to do before, but I never really got around to doing it. Speed reading, for example. Turns out it's a skill. You can learn how to read fast and retain information better. Or work on your memory. Or the soft skills that we mentioned in the last conversation if you watch that. But there are so many things you can do to your mind in order for it to function better, to inch ever further away from what you're used to and improve your life and raise your standards in that way. I guess you've spent a lot of time learning how to use AI, and that has positioned you to a place where you're far more equipped and far more capable than most people, than yourself.
I think that is the area of my life where I am actually burning up. There is so much things that I'm adding. I don't know if it's healthy or not, but I'm writing a book. There's a lot of learning going to writing a fictional story.
Yes.
And we're trying to run businesses. There is a lot of learning, a lot of growth requires just to survive the day, and then AI is not simply because I want to have fun with and enjoy life. It's because it is proven to be a necessity. So I'm realizing that raising the standard can be burdensome in some way. So when we're talking about these affairs, it's not like it is fun, it is easy, or it is enjoyable. There is a pain that goes with stretching and growth.
Yes.
There is a lack of, it's not always pleasant. And so that's why you need something more to go through this. But there are things that you need. There are keys that you need to keep you on track. Because if you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself, there is no way I'm going to do this consistently. Unless something happens, you are right. You're not going to do it consistently. There has to be something more. And it's a struggle day to day. But there is that thing that keeps me on the road,
As we're talking to you watching this, as it pertains to raising your standards on the mental plane, something that I engaged in last year that I found to be really rewarding was improving my ability to small talk. I just started to realize that when I was in the presence of a stranger, I didn't have much to talk about. I didn't really have a way to connect with people. And you'll find out that most people don't know how to do that. Most people don't know how to converse with a stranger. And turns out that is a skill that you can improve at. I am no master by now at making small talk, but I've improved quite a bit. And my social anxiety in that respect has decreased a lot as well. So that is a place that you can start. Free resources online, and we have AI now. There's so many other skills like that. How to be kinder to other people. training yourself to withhold your tongue. You know, you're going left and right just offending people, and you're surprised that you can't make friends, and people tend to not invite you to things, and people tend to stay away from you. It's those kind of things that we're talking about. You can start anywhere. Start from a place where you do not feel overwhelmed at first. Start small. Improve day by day. But yeah, that's really all I have for the mental side. The mental side of things.
Let me give you a recap of where we are at this point. So we're talking about growth, and we're talking about raising your standard. Why are we talking about raising your standard? Because it's the first step to do if you want to change your life. A lot of people are living a life that they do not like. If you want to change it, the first thing you need to do is to raise your standard. So raising that minimum acceptable, that is what raising the standard is. And this is to be done in multiple areas of your life. The first areas of your life where this is done, we say it was the physical. Why the physical first? The physical first because our body houses us. Everything starts with the body. If the body is not right, it's very difficult to be right in other places. It's a struggle when you're sick. It's a struggle when you struggle to get out of a car because your back hurts, or to move simply, or to sit in your office. So we take care of the body, and we all know what it takes to take care of the body. Eat the right things and add some training. Important part here, do not compare yourself to Michael Schumacher or to Tom Brady. Begin where you are. If you're not working, you're sedentary, add working. The second thing we talk about now, the mental development. Well, if you want to improve your life, you need to improve your mental capacity. And this is not just about education. I'm talking about traditional education, about acquiring numerous skills and acquiring diplomas. There are a lot of people with skills and diplomas that are miserable. Yes. You want to acquire things that add to your life. And sometimes some of us are lacking the ability to make a friend. You do not know how to talk to a stranger. You do not know how to entertain small conversation and relationships. Some of us do not mentally, you have not yet learned how to motivate yourself to do something difficult. It's very hard for you to find a way to motivate yourself. All those things are mental things that you need to learn. You can learn. They are all skills that can be acquired. So select things that improve your life mentally, and that will be good. Which brings us to the next step, emotional growth. Yes. Emotional standard. You need to raise your standard emotionally. And this area I find interesting for many reasons. But before I go to my reasons, do you have anything to say about that?
The emotional plane, the emotional side of things, emotional maturity. That's really the way that I think about it. And how does one achieve emotional maturity? And how do you even know that you are emotionally mature or immature? That is the point of this. And it turns out that this aspect of life is also paramount in attempting to raise your standards. We were born on the default of, me. A baby wants their well-being above others. And you grow through life, and pain teaches you enough. Your parents scold you. Share with your brothers, share with your sisters, share with your friends. And some of us still remain at that egocentric phase. Basically, you care about yourself all the way into adulthood. But soon enough, you realize that, man, people don't want to be around me. My friends, I don't have friends because I seem to always look out for myself. And yeah. If you want to jump in, you can jump in.
Oh, no, that is the case. Emotional development happens in stages.
Yes.
Emotional growth is necessary, and to be a functioning adult, to relate to other people, you have to have emotional control, and you have to be developed emotionally, and there are stages to that. The first stage of emotional development is the egocentric emotional development, and we all have to pass by that. All of us have to pass by that. It is necessary at some point. When you're a baby, as you said, you must cry.
Yeah.
You don't care if daddy is tired, you don't care what mommy has slept a leak. All you know is a pee-pee and I need to be changed. And then when you're hungry again, you must cry. That's okay. But it stopped being okay very quickly. Around 2-3 years old now, you need to move to the second stage of emotional development. In the first one, in the egocentric section, the focus of your emotional pleasure is yourself. If something fits for me, that's the only thing that matters.
I'm good.
Yes, yep. But our society will quickly push us to the second stage, which is the ethnocentric stage of development, where it's now about your family members, your tribe, the people that are close to you. So it's not only about you. Now, a lot of people, some people, don't really grow past that first stage well, and I will even argue that all of us struggle with all these stages. Before I get to that thought, I like to go through the stages first, right? Because there was egocentric, ethnocentric, and there is world-centric. So the ethnocentric is where you learn to care for your brother, your mother, your tribe. And there is world-centric where you go further. It becomes now the need of your community. The need of a community are more important to you than the need of your tribe, of your group, of your family. The need of your country are more important to you than the need of your small community, or the need of the world is more important for you than the need of your country. And that is where leadership kicks in. That is where you start pushing other things. But as I was thinking about this, I realized that at the end of the day, we are all at all those stages at the same time. In truth, because I realized that you can be the kind of person who is world-centric when it comes to big picture things, a politician who you care so much about your country, you're giving everything you can for your country, but when you're with your family, you're more of an egocentric. It's about my time. It's about what I need to do. So we need to pay attention and make sure that, and look at different areas of our life and understand that we need to make sure that all those areas of our life are trending toward I would say, world-centric point of view, which comes, and this is just from the emotional development side. Because if we get trapped in thinking that, oh, I'm no longer an egocentric person, I'm in the ethnocentric group, I care about my family, I don't really care about the world much, you'll be shocked to find out that not everybody looks at you that way. There is many versions of us. There is a version of me that is completely unpleasant to people. Another version. Sometimes that version is necessary. There is a version of me that only cares about getting the job done. I will have no mercy, no soliloquy. Every emotional thing around the job getting done is noise and bothers me. I don't care about your feelings. I care about getting the job done. So people that only know me in those areas where I'm in that mode, because sometimes it is necessary for me to be in that mode. But if you don't know me, you only know me in that mode, you think of me as a monster, and I'm pleasant human being to be around. And then you're surprised to find some people who find me very lovable, funny, good to spend time with. And we need to be aware that all those versions lives in us. Now the job is to make sure that most of the time, we integrate. So what I'm learning now at this stage of my life is that for those people who have to deal with me in that get the job done stage of my life, I need to integrate them to make sure that every once in a while they see those other parts of me more developed. Put them in circumstances and situations that are outside of the execution phase for me. So, and the goal, this is just my thought, I'm trying to equilibrate the way I experience the world emotionally and the way the world experiences me emotionally. Try to balance it out. Because I believe that I know I'm in all those stages, all of them. So
that brings an interesting thought to me that I've never considered, that I encourage everybody to have boundaries, to have firm core values that they're not willing to compromise. I guess one might argue that is a form of egocentrism.
It is.
And
quite clear.
In that case, we really are, there is value in being at the egocentric phase in some aspects of your life, the ethnocentric phase at other aspects of my life. For example, before I go out there and give away things, I'll make sure that my wife and kids are well. Like, I'll make sure that my tribe is well cared for. And then I can go out there and fight other people's battles. So in that sense, I'm a little bit ethnocentric in that way. And egocentric in the sense of, I'm really jealous of my peace. I don't care if it's mother, father, brother, siblings, best friends, anything. If I find myself in an environment where I feel like my peace is challenged, that people are polluting my inner world, I will leave. I will not stay. And in that sense, it is egocentric in that way,
but it's not bad.
I don't think it's bad.
As I was approaching this material, the idea was, after a certain age, egocentrism is bad. That was what I got at first. You know, I was like, oh, let me avoid to be egocentric, maybe ethnocentric. And then I realized that we are more complex as human beings. Sometimes we have to be egocentric. Sometimes being, for example, world-centric hurts your family. And that is one of my worries. I don't have a family yet, per se, in a way that we think of a Western family. But I know my passion for my people in general.
Yes.
At this stage already, all the things that I'm doing, my plans, is all about the development of my community. You know, the way I'm doing my business sometimes, while being more difficult, with more challenges and more loss, where I wanna put my energy, has to do with my community. And I think to myself that it is possible that one of my biggest challenges in life will be to give to my community that which my soul wants to give to my community, without taking away myself from my family. You know, that responsibility.
I mean, I wish there was a way that we can guarantee that we're going to be at all the soccer games for our kids.
Impossible.
At all the rehearsals and then the theater gatherings and all that stuff. And my wife would squirm hearing this, but it is just not possible, because at some point you have to put the needs of your community, of your country, your continent, the world, ahead of the momentary needs of your family. And I'm not speaking here of abandoning your family or anything like that, but there are those moments where the sacrifices are called for because of the greater good. And that is part of being world-centric, a level of maturity. And I mean, in this paradigm, in this framework, we view world-centrism as the pinnacle of emotional maturity, that you just find yourself at some point like, man, there's garbage out here in this beautiful park. Let me just pick it up, because I'm thinking, man, a dog might come by and swallow it up, or a kid might come by, or it could be a needle or something like that. But you pick it up on your way out, even if it costs you a few seconds, a few minutes of your time. So that is that. It's a very minor example of world-centrism, but that's really what it's about. That.
Yeah. But a question though.
Yeah.
Should it be considered a pinnacle? Is it really the pinnacle of emotional maturity?
What lies beyond it?
What I'm saying is, this is new thoughts, right? I don't look at them as being on a scale. I don't look at them as being parallel. It's no longer which one is more valuable, more which one is better. It's now about which one is appropriate under which situation and under what time. It's about now wisdom, the way I look at it. There's a situation in which the appropriate thing to do is to be egocentric.
Yes.
Situation in which the appropriate thing to do is to be ethnocentric. And situation in which the appropriate thing to be is world-centric. And the wisdom in deciding in which situation we are is the key in emotional maturity.
There seems to be layers and nuances to what is right and what is true. The capital T truth, that we are this elusive concept that we try to reach. But I guess my retort to that would also be, you will not encounter a 1-year-old who's world-centric. You see, there's an element of growth that is attached to these in a way, but also that does not seem to be the full truth. It seems to be overly simplified to say that as you walk through life, your objective is to become world-centric, which is a really good point. I've never thought about it that way. But then again, I'm reminded that you'll not find the average kid, the average toddler, to be concerned about the welfare of their entire class.
Yes, and I believe that the context is important here.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, it's about wisdom. In that kid world, in his context, it's not yet there. It doesn't have the framework to exercise that freedom, that wisdom. So this is new, obviously. It's very new thought for me. So I can't say it's developed or there is a level of certitude to what I'm saying. I'm just uncovering my position about something.
Yes.
And what I'm discovering is that emotional maturity is at large about wisdom. It's not just about wisdom, understanding of context, timing, understanding of situation. Because there's times where if you are not egocentric enough in certain area of your life for a certain period of time, it becomes impossible for you to get to be world-centric. If you not take care of your inner world, for example, you open your ear to everybody who wants to complain,
Yes.
who is creates distress in you. All of a sudden, it curbs your ability to inspire. You know what I mean? It curbs your ability to serve the world. Because what am I going to give to the world there? Because I wanted to be world-centric, so I let in all the pain in the world, all the discord into my body, into my space, and now I'm no longer what I need to be in order to give the world what I need to give the world. Maybe
Interesting thought.
maybe all those things are just things to consider. We need to be aware of them, and we need to make sure that we exercise our ability to choose. So maybe emotional maturity is about knowing of when, not at any stage. A lot of time, the decision to which aspect of emotional development we need to give, we need to give prominence at the time.
Yes.
Is simply about the awareness of it. Like I think of myself, I am working, I am writing my book. I'm in my dark dungeon, and here come young Susu, all bushy-tailed and excited. A desire, she wants to spend time with me. And I'm short. I'm like, kid, what do you want? She's like, so sweet. I want to play a game with you. You know, at that time, I have to decide: do I need to be egocentric in this moment, or do I need to give the ethnocentric? Should I post this book and this time that I'm very jealous of, and this deadline that is coming up, to give this kid the time that she needs and the investment that she needs, or should I just tell her to leave me alone? And the awareness of that, because if I'm focused, I'm seated there on my, me, I will simply just tell you to leave me alone quickly without thinking twice. And usually my quick responses are not considering the awareness, I'm realizing. So when I take that time to just be aware of the situation, it becomes obvious what I should do. And now I negotiate with Susie. Like, when I'm writing a book, can you please sit next to me, play? We can hang up and do something separately, and then I can play with you later. All of a sudden, I see a demeanor change. Now she's playing this loud game while I'm writing, and it is bothering me, like driving me crazy, but it's a sacrifice I've done so that my little sister can feel welcome and appreciated and loved. So it's this game of not just wisdom, but awareness as well. So there is something more to this emotional raising
maturity.
your emotional standard.
When you hear the words emotional maturity and emotional intelligence,
Yes.
do you use them synonymously?
No, they're not the same to me.
So, in what you just said,
Yes.
I guess I would venture a guess that the average person, or the ways in which I'm used to using the phrase emotional intelligence, fits that context. That you're intelligent enough to read the room, to read the context around you. So you're telling me that your wisdom and emotional intelligence seems to be the two levers for you to help you determine whether the situation calls for being egocentric, ethnocentric, or world-centric.
What I'm saying is, I know that I have to be at these different places, at different stages in my life, all at once. It's complex, right? Now I have to decide what to be in a certain situation. I have to weigh that. I have to weigh what to be. So now, if to avoid making the wrong decision, the number one thing that I need is awareness. That space to decide to assess the situation.
Okay.
That's the best thing I come up with right now. The space to assess the situation. If it was you who came down that room when I was writing and wanted me to play the game, I would have waved my hand to get out of my studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
get it.
I wouldn't have thought, I wouldn't have taken the time to think it through.
Yeah.
But because I relate differently to a younger sister, it's a completely different creature, a demeanor coming in, it's a completely different thing. I had the awareness that this is something that needs assessment. And I needed to negotiate a middle ground with her.
Yeah.
Which I found. So awareness is important. We need to learn to be aware people. You know. And I realized that I'm one of those, I used to be at least, I can say now, most of my life, I was a very straightforward person who inflamed people, left and right. And it was a lack of awareness. You know, I'll walk in the room and I'll just tell you the truth about what I believe it to be true and move without considering the impact of that truth onto you. I can tell you the truth, I can still be truthful and step forward without being hurtful. You know, the only difference is the awareness of the situation and taking the time to learn how to say what I need to say. You know,
and also the foresight of the consequences. You know,
yes.
You've lived life long enough to know that, you know what, if taking the time, you know, maximizing that little gap that you have in between the stimulus and your response, you've lived life long enough, you've learned enough to know that, you know what, this time is critical.
Interesting.
Because my response here could bring on more issues and more trouble.
You just brought a distinction to me. That might be the difference between the maturity part and the intelligence part. It might be that emotionally intelligent person are just a aware person in the area of emotions. And mature people are people who've learned through experience. You see, like I'm matured emotionally. Now I know that I cannot just be 100% honest all the time. There are different people in the world. I can be maybe honest with you in some way, much less on. And when it comes to, for example, Megzi, or when it comes to Esther, I must be more reserved, you know, and that is not over time, and that is wisdom, right? The intelligence part is emotional intelligence is about being aware, the speed at which I read the room, and that is just awareness. So, is it crazy if I say that emotionally intelligent people are just emotionally aware people? And then, not only they're aware, but they make the right decision based on the information they capture through their awareness.
That definitely begs more thinking. I don't know. This would be a fun thought to engage in.
Let us know, guys, in the comments if you can, what you think about
yes.
the definition of emotional awareness and what we're talking about egocentrism, ethnocentrism, and world-centric. What do you think about it? Are we crazy? Do you believe that the world-centric is the pinnacle, or do you agree with me that we live all this at the same time, and the idea that we are driving to become one at all areas of our life is absolutely a fantasy that can never happen? That's my position. I'm thinking about it. So let us know. But
yeah, so we parked here for a little while as
Yeah.
we talked about emotional growth, emotional stretching. There was one last aspect that we want to discuss as well, and this one is the spiritual side. You know, how do you stretch spiritually, and what does that even mean?
raise your standard in the
And
spiritual area.
Is
Yes.
it worthwhile? Is it worth it to also let that be an area of your life where you are intentionally seeking to expand beyond your comfort zone? So what does it mean to grow spiritually to you?
You know, this is an area where there's a lot of people who will scream Caca del Toro. You know? It's, what do you mean spiritual, raising your standards spiritually? And why does it important? Why does that improve the quality of my life?
Yes.
Now, here is what I would say to that. I believe that without raising your standards spiritually, there is no room for fulfillment.
That is a lofty statement. Okay, go
You
on.
cannot be fulfilled if this area of your life is not at least a certain level you're supposed to be. You know, you can be successful. You know,
Whatever
you
that
can
means,
be
yeah.
whatever that means. You can be a person who achieves goals,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of every goal, you're gonna feel stale and looking for the next goal to feel something. Spiritual growth. When you raise your standard spiritually, that is where fulfillment lives.
What I'm attempting to do is, I believe in that, but I'm trying my hardest to see if this is a dogmatic thought because of my Christian bias, or if it is, if we can make a case that this is true, even for people who are not Christian, people who do
Let's
not believe in
prosecute
God.
it. Prosecute
Yes.
it. Let's prosecute it.
When we refer to the spiritual side, what do we even refer to? What does it even mean in general?
It means looking outside of yourself at the greatest things you're liable for. From.
What do you mean?
There is something greater than you.
Yes.
There is something greater than you to whom you are beholding.
So if we don't even agree on that, then this conversation dies right
Yeah,
then
it
and there.
does.
Yes.
If there is nothing greater than you, then you are the greatest things.
Yes.
And then what do you do with if you're the greatest things, what do you do with who you are? No matter how many millions you have, what are you going to do at the end of it? Seek for more millions? Then what becomes life? At some point, when you start making millions, making more millions become easy. And become less satisfying, it's less challenging.
The game loses its taste.
Now you start missing the stage of life where you are pushing. And now you go and you enter your large building and you open this skyscraper and you find out why there are people who are diving off of large buildings, penthouses.
with a 9-figure net worth.
There is not, because life is tasteless. They miss the stage where they are looking for this taste. And once they finally got it, they found out that after a certain amount of time, is as stale as can be. And they're wondering to themselves, what is more? You know, they say, okay, maybe the love of a family. And the people, your family, they're not perfect. As a matter of fact, on your way to chasing these millions, you alienated them. Because you're not beholden to something greater than yourself. If you're the greatest things, if you're the standard, so reach this stage of life where you're looking at the world and there is no satisfaction. And the reason is you do not understand that there are greater things than you to which you are beholden.
In fact, I would argue that it is a form of egocentrism and unhealthy egocentrism, dare I say. In this
Yes.
case, for you to think that you are as good as it gets, you are as big as it gets, you are as powerful
Yes.
as it gets. Because that'll soon enough lead you to a place of despondency, a place of misery, a place where you wonder, does any of this make sense?
Yeah.
Does any of this have any meaning? There is much more beyond yourself. In fact, all you have to do is just look around and go through life and realize how unpredictable, how little power you have over so many things. And if that does not remind you that there are things far more powerful than you, forces outside of you that are far, far, far superior to you, yeah, if we cannot agree on that one, the spiritual side of things does not even make sense. So that one I agree with. I'm satisfied with this one. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Let's do a quick recap. You're talking about raising your standard. Raising your standard. Why? Because that is the first step to have the life you want, to improve the quality of your life.
Yes.
And we said that you have to raise your standard physically. We talked about what has to do with that. We
Yes.
said you have to raise your standard mentally. We talked about what has to do with that. We still you have to raise your standard emotionally. We
Yes.
talked about what has to do with that. And we talked about the spiritual. We use standard spiritually. And I don't know how I would guide somebody to raise their standard spiritually, because for me, I am a religious man. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I do not want to take this place to direct you into that area. I believe everybody is on their journey, and you shall find your way to Him in some way. So I want to go into the how to raise your standard spiritually, because if I do it vaguely, it will be dishonest. There is something that I believe, and that's the only thing I would want to share with you. So I'm just not gonna do it. But now that we talked about the major areas where you need to reach your standard, there is a question that awakes. Christian, how do I do this? You know, there must be something that helps me to do this. How do I bear the difficulty of reaching the standard? How do I go through this process? And figure out there are keys to do so. But right now, what I've learned that I was going through this was 3 keys. And we're going to talk about, I would like to talk about the first key, define it, maybe discuss about it, maybe challenge if it should be the first key or not. And that first key, the first thing that you need in order to even be able to start this journey and to do the sustained difficulty, to go through the sustained pain of growth and change, is you need inspiration. You need to be inspired to do so. You know, and to do this, you have to understand what is inspiration. You know, and the person who was teaching me this went into the Latin. I don't remember the Latin word of inspiration, but because I like the way words fit, it's always been one of my fascination. He said that he related to the French word inspirer, which inspirer in French means to take in air. So to be inspired is to have breath put into you.
To have life infused into you.
Yes.
Yes.
To inspire is to take in air, you know. And as being a Christian, I know that in the Bible that when God created man, man was still paddy, he was still earth until he inspired him, until he put life into him. So in order to go through this journey, first you need inspiration. You need somebody to inspire you. You need to figure out something to inspire you. I have things that inspire me to do certain things. Building a business is difficult, but I have inspirations that pushes me into the dark days. God knows we've had some dark days. The difficulties, bad news coming left and right.
Yep.
You know, but I'm inspired by something that pushes me. That is far more important than myself.
Yes.
This future that I see for so many people is such a fire that it keeps me going in the times when I don't want to go. Important inspiration. What do you have to say about inspiration?
I want to ask you, person watching this, to not even really rely too much on our definition of it or trying to attempt to explain it with words. You know what it feels like. You know what it's like to have one problem, usually a problem, a form of a problem, something that is not right. And it fills you with rage. It fills you with strength and desire to see that issue resolved. You know, you just know that this is not right. You know, like, okay, why is it that there are so many homeless people? And you find yourself thinking about that so much, you know, so often. It could be a number of things. It could be many, many, many things. But there are those few things that are different for the most part, from one person to another. You know, we can be united under the same thing that inspires us, but all of us are likely to have a different version of an issue that is causing trouble in us. And you just know it within you. This is part of what I'm supposed to do. This bothers me too much. I have to fix it. I have to resolve it. Or I guess it doesn't have to be a problem, I suppose.
No.
It doesn't have to be a problem. It's just
something you care about.
Something that you care about deeply. And it just gives you so much joy. It's something that you would do even if you weren't being paid. And I know even saying it like that does not clarify exactly what it feels like, what it is, because I have some close ones who up to recently told me, I don't have anything like that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was about to ask you that question.
Yes.
What if somebody tells you that I'm not inspired? And for me, this has been a challenging thought, because I remember I was learning this, Peter Sage, a teacher from which I was learning some of these concepts, shared that is a 20-to-1 affair. Out of 20 people, there is one person who is inspired, and that inspired person create a world around them. And that is true. I see it, you know, I mean, when you are inspired as an entrepreneur to create something, you bring with you a lot of people that buy into your inspiration.
Yes.
And they become employees who enjoy the joining your vision. you know, and they help you build the world. So there's some people that are maybe looking for other people inspiration to join, or there's some people that are uncomfortable because they're inspired to do something and it's painful because they're not doing it. I do not know, but my question is it possible to be a person who is not inspired by anything?
It is. I believe. I believe that every individual on earth is built for a purpose,
Yes.
has a reason to be around. Yes, this is primarily shaped by my religious beliefs, by my Christianity. But to the person who tells me I'm not inspired, these words that you were spewing over me, telling me that is there something that puts fire under my belly, what does that even mean? I would tell that person with the most love that I can muster in me, it may be that you're looking too much. Basically, you're not going beyond the egocentric phase of things. You have to look beyond yourself. You have to go beyond yourself to see issues that are affecting people around you. It could be the loved ones, it could be your close circle, it could be, the entire world, the entire continent. I don't know. But you are very unlikely to find inspiration just looking from within you. Looking from, what I like to do is just play video games. And I don't feel like this is all that inspiring, this is all that life-changing, earth-shattering, or anything like that. Attempt to go beyond you. Even within video game world, are there things that you can do within your that align with your passions, your natural gifting, that could serve others? And I promise you that as you start to dabble in those waters, you will see that the fruits of your labor is bringing joy to somebody else. I don't know of a single human being who is not responsive to that, to seeing that you're bringing joy to somebody else's life, to see that you're making other people's lives easier, you're contributing, because I believe that we all are to grow and contribute, which is the subject of another conversation that we're going to have soon. But you will feel something within you, something will feel right in you as you are improving the quality of life of somebody else. And along that path, inspiration, you can find it there. I don't believe that you have to, fold your arms and wait for inspiration to arrive. It may be something that you find along your path. For you, it may be something that in the process of doing, in the process of engaging with life, you discover that this right here provides me with the most amount of fulfillment. And the feedback that I get from it is so rewarding that I could do this for the rest of my life. That is a form of inspiration. It could be that you watch somebody else thriving in whatever area of life that they're successful at, that they're useful at. And then you're like, whoa, what is mine? And you begin to search and you will find it. I really believe that everybody has an area of life where they're inspired at. That they could be.
So what you're saying is that, yes, there are people that are uninspired, but it's not because they're unable to be inspired. So inspiration is something we can search for.
Yes.
So some of you, I guess, if you're struggling to raise your standard, you want to change your life, maybe the first step should be trying to figure out something that inspires you to do so. Because there is a reason why I want to be healthy, as the best health as possible. I'm trying to build incredible things to change people's lives. It requires that I'm competent. It requires that I'm a better speaker. I need to grow there. It requires that I'm a better communicator. I'm a better thinker. It requires that I have skills that add value, and that demands that I raise my standard mentally. All right. I want to have a relationship with human beings. I need to raise my standard emotionally to increase the quality of relationship that I have.
Yes.
So this inspires me to do so. And spiritually, like everybody, I want to have a fulfilled life. I want to have a life that I think is doing its job. I'm fulfilling the mission I've made for. And for that, I need to believe that I'm made, and I need to have a relationship with the one who made me, creating this this necessity of pursuit of the spiritual. So inspiration is the first key.
Yes.
We need to be inspired.
You need to be inspired indeed.
Yes. But some people will say it's not the first key, the second key is the first key, because the second key is discipline.
Discipline.
Yes.
Discipline. That's sweet beast that is unavoidable. There is no going without it. There is no going without it. You have to be willing.
I don't enjoy it.
You have to be willing to perform a specific action or set of actions over a long period of time.
Sometimes years.
Yes, sometimes decades.
consistently,
and oftentimes
without seeing results,
without feedback,
without feedback results,
without positive
blind.
And in fact, sometimes with negative feedback,
Negative feedback comes.
people telling you that you're
This
crazy.
journey.
What is it that you're building? You're insane.
Are you
so
out of
far,
your mind?
You're only draining money. You're flushing money down the toilet, and you've tried 10 things before. They've all failed. What are you doing?
What are you doing, Chris? I wanna do entrepreneurship in the
From
Congo.
loving people.
Yes.
Loving voices are telling you
People
this.
that care about you are like, Christian,
Yes.
you're in the United States. You could start any business.
Yes.
There is a better climate. Why do you insist to starting these businesses in war zones? What is your problem?
The other things don't inspire me. I will not last long.
Exactly. So that's what I want to do. If I build a business here, it will succeed. But I don't want to go through pain for it.
Yes.
I don't want to wake up to go for it. There's a reason I want to build things home.
Yes.
You know? And the people that love me, that care about me, Christian, why are you wasting your life? You are so intelligent, so much opportunity. As a matter of fact, you have degrees that have high-paying job potential. Why are you not exercising them? What is wrong with you? And you keep receiving job offers.
And he's touched that money too, so he's talking from experience.
So, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I suffering? Why am I going through this? It's because I remember waking up on Monday to go to work and feeling sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Sick to my stomach. Going there and doing what I need to do, doing it well, being appreciated for it, and feeling like I was not adding any worth to the world. You know,
Yeah.
it's a thing that I don't want to have. You know, I'd rather go to Jesus. You know, than live a life day by day. So what? So I can have money in my pocket and to do what with that money? What am I going to do with it?
To buy yourself
A pacifier?
fake, exactly.
Something to make me feel better for a second, you know. So, you know, do discipline, and without discipline, you cannot go through this kind of pain. You know, discipline is necessary, but here's the key: inspiration has to come first. The reason why I can endure this discipline, Ben endures the discipline and endures. You know, you could have been a doctor or you've been doing all sorts of research at this point. Qualified brother,
And
excellent throughout his academic journey, he is suffering, right? But the reason is, well, it inspires him. And now he's going through the painful discipline of growth. And the painful discipline of growth is going day by day, knowing what you want at the end, not understanding the journey it takes, but being able to drag along day by day, come and repeat. Discipline is important, but it can be first, because if discipline is first, it's willpower, and willpower will always fail you. Factual.
you have those days of your willpower is at its zenith. You feel like you can move the whole world,
Conquer the world.
and then you have, sooner or later, you don't have any of it. You're like, what the heck? And you confuse it for, maybe I pursue the wrong thing. Maybe I'm not even inspired after all.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to jump ship and try something new. So inspiration has to come first.
Yes, and you know, I see this willpower thing in a lot of people who don't finish things. You know, and I've heard people. I'm doing something. Obviously, as you say, when you're inspired, you inspire the people.
Yes.
Now, I'm inspired. I'm doing this thing. The people see I'm doing. They want to join. You know, let's say I'm writing a book. Somebody say I want to edit for you, or I'm making a film. Somebody say I want to do this for you. What they don't know is that this is a chapter by chapter prospect, long term adjustment. Go back, read it, go back, read it, fix it, and it is not fun. You've read this chapter 6 times. You've written 6 versions of this chapter, and it's not there where it's supposed to be. And you continue. Eventually, the feedback is not coming as energetically anymore. The pain is there, the work, you know, or all the fire is gone.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
It's not for the faint-hearted. Inspiration has to be there first to survive the discipline. Because willpower play with, willpower is like carbohydrates. It's sugar, you burn it quickly. You need those proteins and those fats for the long term, the long journey. And obviously discipline is important, but it's only useful really to get you to where you're supposed to get if the first thing you encountered on your journey to change and growth was inspiration. So be inspired first, and then use discipline to take you to the other side.
Yes.
But there is one more.
And the third key.
Yes.
First key.
Tell us, what is the third key, Ben?
First key, inspiration. Second key, discipline. And these are keys for stretching, for expanding your comfort zone. So you have
raising your standards.
Yes, raising your standards. And the third key is surrender. Surrender to a higher power. Surrender to something that is outside of you.
And now I'm curious to see how you're going to explain this one. Why is this necessary?
A power that goes far beyond you. You know, of the three, this one is the one that I could argue as first position. Again, I cannot separate myself from who I am as a Christian, right? But to me, I find that the challenges of the journey are much easier to bear when I know that
it is not up to you.
It's not up to me. That I have a higher power who will shoulder the burden. In fact, shoulder most of the burden. And who's on my side? Who's bringing about the right resources alongside me? Who's bringing about the right people alongside me? And who has created me for this specific... So I have this belief that I am perfectly designed for the challenges that I'm going through, for the things that inspire me. And if I do not believe in a higher power to surrender to, whose will I live by, I don't know. I don't know how to do
Life
this.
Life is difficult to take. You know, and I want to say something. This is not abdicating responsibility.
Yes.
It is not that.
Yes.
You know, when you say it's not up to me, it's up to our power, it's not that it's abdicating responsibility for getting the things done. No. Is this idea, this crucial, important idea, that as created beings, we've been created with a purpose, and we did not set that purpose.
Yes.
There is a higher power that has set the purpose to which we are launched. Everything in our design pushes us to desire the task we were made for.
Yes.
So we are executing this task, and now every difficulty around the way of this task, as we flow in the river of life through the pursuit of the goal that we believe to be our ultimate objective, things we were made for. And as we are going through this, the obstacles, we believe that those obstacles have been carefully placed by the person who sent us to the mission to transform us, to mold us, to change us into the people that achieve the goal.
Yes.
You know, if I want to be a bodybuilder, I need to go through certain pains, certain obstacle that will literally transform me into the kind of person who wins bodybuilding competitions. I will learn to diet. I will learn to cut weight. I will learn to lift. I don't know this word. I don't know why I chose that example. But the same way, this is a microcosm of what I look at life being. You know, we do not obtain things because we pursue them. We obtain things because we become the kind of person who can have them. And the way we become the kind of person who can have them is to going through this journey.
Yes.
Of raising the standard, of changing, of growth, while surrendering to what's come. So this makes all the challenges for me in our worldview, you know, what we see the world more tolerable, because I know most of these painful things I'm going through in this journey of pursuing this objective, this goal that I believe I have no choice by pursuing, because there is no joy in my life unless if I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
Because this is what I've been made for. In this journey, as we are going through it to pursue it, the things that happen and that create a challenge, a difficulty for us, the things that create the crying days and the despair days are necessary to turn me into the person I need to become to obtain what I'm trying to obtain. And they have been put there purposefully,
yes,
by an all-benevolent creator who made me for a task.
Indeed.
And it makes it easy to digest.
You touched on something quite good that I want to make sure that we have included in this recording for the people.
Yeah.
And that is goal setting. A lot of this stretching,
yes,
can be also boiled down to small goals that you are achieving as you go along.
Yes.
And the very purpose of a goal itself. You know, all of us have achieved and failed at, you know, in the process of achieving a goal.
Yes.
You achieved some, you failed some. You know, you were able to pass a class, for example, that is a goal that you achieved. But if you really put goal achievement on a pedestal, very quickly realize that I've achieved this goal. Now what? Now what? It's a pointless game that kept going on and going on until I learned something that really changed my perspective when it comes to goal achievement is the point of a goal. The point of achieving a goal is not really the goal itself. Yes, you can learn how to play the piano, then what? You know, what really? But it's the small things. It's the things along the way. The character traits that you accumulate in the process of achieving that goal. So basically the person you become is the prize. The person that you become is the prize.
Yes.
And by putting it like that, the pressure of achieving a goal really disappears for the most part.
Yes.
You know, you're on this pursuit, you know, I want to lose 20 pounds, for example, within 4 months.
Yes.
That is a worthy goal. You know, it improves your health and all the other things that go with it.
And it's
but
difficult.
Let's say within 4 months, instead of 20 pounds, you've lost 10 pounds.
Yes.
Don't beat yourself up over it, because it clearly shows that you were able to sustain the discipline to deprive yourself of some quick pleasures, some quick dopamine hits, you know, in that process.
You
so you
become a
realize that,
different
you know
person.
what, I'm capable of actually keeping my word. You know,
The person you become is the person you become on your way to achieving your goal is the price.
that is the price. Yes.
So think of this. You have the goal of running a marathon, right? And you've never run a marathon before. Right now you're sitting on your chair, you never ran a mile in your
Yes.
life. You said I'm gonna run a marathon. How many miles is a marathon? I know you're the runner.
23
23 kilometers,
roughly miles.
23 miles.
Roughly.
So here's what you do. You go down for the first time, you walk, and then you run a mile, and then 2 miles, and then 3 miles. And then I don't know how the training goes, but by the time you're gonna run a marathon, you training, you probably went and ran the 23 miles.
Yes.
Right? But then on the day of the run, as you're trying to do it, you are unable to achieve it. To achieve the goal. And you can be devastated by missing your goal, but in reality, the price is not the goal achieved or not achieved. The price is that on your way to achieve this goal, you've become the kind of person that runs. You become the kind of
That is very
person
true.
that can go through the pain of running 2-3 miles. You have transformed yourself into
Yes.
a different creature in the way
Yes.
to achieving the goal. And that's how most goal works.
Yes.
We change, we transform in our way to achieving the goal. We
Indeed.
grow and we morph. And that's what goal setting should be about.
So teaching people how to celebrate that, to celebrate the
Celebrate
changes,
the change,
the
the
changes that,
transformation.
because those changes are far more long-lasting than
Yes.
winning a little cheap medal that you get on the Boston Marathon.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you're somebody who can be proud of yourself.
Yes.
Like, you know what? Even though I couldn't finish the race on race day,
Yeah.
guess what? Along the way, my endurance improved. My cardiovascular health improved a lot. And that is something that I take far beyond the race.
Yes.
So that is really something that was important for me to learn in goal achievement.
Yes, this will be a natural end of the conversation. So let's give a synopsis of what happened. So things that we did. Thing number one is we talked about raising your standard. Why is that important? Is because that's what you do when you're trying to improve the quality of your life. The first thing you need to raise your standard. We have a bit of a difference of opinion on where to start, you know, inspiration or something else. But you need to raise your standard physically. You need to raise your standard mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
Yes.
And to do so, you need to apply a few things, which is inspiration, you need discipline, and the final one is surrender to other purpose.
Yes.
You know, and putting all this together will allow you to raise your standard and start on your journey of improving the quality of your life. A lot of thought, of ideas, and pondering happened in the process, but here we are. Here we are indeed. So with that, this is the end of this episode, ending abruptly. So people, as always, do us a favor, like and subscribe, please. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that all that, because, well, we need this to grow. We need your help to grow. And as we grow, we get more opportunities, more ability to invite more people to improve the product for you. And with that being said, we bid you goodbye.
Peace. Until next time.